Alireza Firouzja, they're also looking ready to go. There's a bit of twinning going on. I feel like they're sitting in the same pose right now. That's not a classic chess player pose.
We're being told that Magnus has been penalized 3 minutes for being late, which I think Magnus would be the first to approve. None of the players get special treatment if you're late to the party. If you spend too long at the restaurant, too many minutes in the shower, you get penalized in your first game. Magnus starting with 7 minutes on the clock. Something tells me, Tanya, he's not too broken up about it. And he's going to make that time up with his incredible level of opening mastery, as we have a Ruy Lopez in the first game. Magnus has the white pieces and a G6 setup by Mr. Firouzja.
We've seen Magnus in the World Blitz Championship arriving 2.5 minutes late for a 3-minute game, and with 30 seconds on the clock going on to crush his opponent. This one, like you said, he's got a 3-minute deficit. And I think, Daniel, that sets a really good precedence. We saw that happen for Jan Duda as well. Magnus arriving late, he's got to pay for it. But does that also add additional pressure on Alireza Firouzja now? Mind games here. That you feel you've got these extra minutes on the clock, so you really should be making the most of your chances, even though you've got the black pieces.
That's a great point, but then there's the negative pressure of, why am I not making the most of it? My coach, one time, the default time in the US for forfeiture is 1 hour. One time I was playing round 1 of a tournament, my opponent came 58 minutes late and blew me off the board. And afterward, my coach said, that creates so much pressure on you to exploit the fact that you have more time. What he recommended I do is just sit for 57 minutes on the first move, just to level the playing field, just so you don't have that additional onus of having to prove that you're better with more time on the clock. It's something to think about, and I like the way that Alireza is handling the opening. He's handling it the same way he would if Magnus had 10 minutes on his clock, pushing d5, creating that very typical Ruy Lopez pressure in the center, where Magnus is now the one calling the shots. He has to decide whether he's playing e takes d5 or if he's keeping the tension, potentially allowing Alireza's pawn to move down to d4.
And if that pawn moves down to d4 at the right moment, the bishop on e3 might feel like it doesn't have too many squares. So big decisions to be made. Do you trade off in the center immediately? Do you first perhaps pick up the knight, trade the bishop for the knight, and make black play on with a worse pawn structure on the queen side, a double c pawn, but it comes with its own set of advantage. You've moved one of the side pawns towards the center, also opened up your b file, and that's the approach that Magnus has taken to this position, because he's got the follow-up in his mind. And there is massive tension on the board, 4 pawns facing each other. Who blinks first? What are you expecting in this one?
Well, it's a great call, Tanya, predicting bishop takes c6 and following up with the creation of this pawn cube in the center. The point is that the e5 pawn is now under attack. So if Alireza takes on e4, Magnus will jump into e5 with his knight. I think we're going to get a bunch of trades in the center. I think Alireza might be best advised to start with e takes d4 and then because king g1 and king h1 look like they're kind of the same move. King g1, common chess wisdom dictates that you shouldn't expose yourself to unnecessary checks. So if you just played a move based on your intuition, it's king h1. The problem is that blunders the rook to queen f1. And Magnus Carlsen, I was a little bit worried because he was taking a long time there. This is a very easy fork to miss. You forget about pieces that are hanging on the other side of the board. But no, he sidesteps this landmine. And I think that with 90 seconds left, there's no reason for Alireza to do anything crazy here. I think we're going to see a perpetual check imminently.
I have a feeling he's going to try to get more. You don't get this kind of a position or this sort of a chance against Magnus Carlsen too often. And when you've got something to play for, the thing is you have to fight it out till the very end. It might still be a draw, and we see the objective evaluation remains pretty level so far. But knowing Alireza, I think he's going to make Magnus try to fight just a little more, earn that draw, and not just give into it. And now we have it. He goes for it.
Well, Magnus just stepped out of the tower. He's not in the mood to sweat. But that's exactly what he's going to be doing. And I'm looking at his own clock. He's down to 90 seconds. Alireza setting up some threats with rook g8, just deciding, hey, I've got nothing to lose. I'm not risking here at all. This knight on h7, I just want to spotlight how good of a defender it is, covering the king, keeping it safe from all sorts of checks. And now it's up to Magnus to defend with precision, which he's done throughout his career. Does Alireza have an actual threat here? I think he does. Queen e3 is a mate threat, because then if you play king h1, the queen zigzags around to g3. That is why Magnus drops his queen back to e2. A very savvy defensive move.
Really nice spot there, Daniel. So rook to g8, had a sneaky big idea, stopped, and now again, the ball's in Alireza's court. He can finish this off. He can take a draw, and it's not a result that you're not proud of, with the black pieces to stop this match with the draw. But given the possession, having still that extra piece alive, again, I don't think we're going to see a repetition at this point. This is just Alireza trying to gain those extra seconds on the clock. Daniel, I don't even see a way for Magnus to clearly take this to an endgame. There is no more queen trade, but we saw a repetition, and that's it.